Hello everybody, we are back here at Salute once more. We popped by the Sarissa stand, where I'm joined by Steve and Gerry, to talk about all things MDF and building, because there's been some fantastic bits and pieces that have been coming out of Sarissa over the years, and now you seem to have just ramped it up to 11. So you are in charge of the Sarissa, but you are in charge of all the modicum of designs.
Yeah, I am March Attack. I'm going to advertise. I'm March Attack.
Really good YouTube channel.
And yeah, I do all the design work.
It's been 14 years in the making.
14 years.
Yeah. So
I contacted these guys to do some model railway buildings. Now I contacted a number of other manufacturers, a couple still here. This guy was the only one that had the business sense to respond. And it sort of went from there, really. Yeah. Crazy.
So, responsible for the designs as you are, how does that come about? Do Steve and the guys at Sarissa come over and go, we want something World War II, we want something modern, what can you give us? Or do you...
Well, that's where the collaboration comes, because Steve will say, I've got this. I'll say, I've got this. And then we take both projects on. Steve will put the wargaming influence on it. I'm not a wargamer. I'm not even into dice games or anything like that, but I am into fabrication and design.
Heresy.
It's desperate, isn't it? You can't find the staff.
I'm not even into miniatures painting. I made some money out of it, but basically, so it's a good collaboration, because he'll go, well, can you make it a bit bigger, fatter, wider, thinner, shorter? And I'll go, no. Or we'll get into it. And that's where some of our bigger projects works, because Steve's a good filter for that particular client, and he filters it in terms of back to them going, not going to work, and it's a good collaboration.
It's handy to have a filter sometimes. Unfortunately, I run on without a filter all of the time, which is a terrible thing. One of the big standouts for us that we had a look at earlier was the upcoming range that's going to be sort of tailored towards Guards of Traders Toll. Is that right? Yeah. This is brand spanking new prototypes. I was told even the creator of the game didn't realize was going to be here today. And it takes it in a whole new direction, because this is the first set that I've seen, bar tokens and the like, that have the print on them.
Yeah.
So whose idea was it to go for print, and did that change any of the design aspects?
The print side of it, we've done printed products for 4 or 5 years. Tokens, templates, lots of stuff, load dice towers, lots. We totally avoided buildings, because we do lots of buildings, and we wanted them to be different. We didn't just want to do printed versions of what we do. They had to be a different product for a different sort of, person. Yeah, and so that was really what's been bouncing around for probably 3-4 years. Not, that it had to be the right product done in the right way, not just, let's make them full colour. Yeah.
And so how did that fill into the design here? Were you always looking at, if I want to put windows on, because then that'll give me different textures and the like, or were you just content to go with the shapes and then worry about the design aesthetics that were going to be plastered on over?
Oh, no. I mean, I'm 33 years old designer, so basically it is a whole package that happens. Right. So Steve had a conversation with Graham. There were a few sort of sketchy things that Graham had, and I started there, and it was like,
can we do what Graham wants? Is that physically possible?
Yeah.
Is it, or does it not quite work? And to make it work, what do we need to do? But also, you have to think of how much is it going to cost, because you could create something that's awesome, but it's going to cost £100 for a small building, because you put so much detail and faff into it. Yeah. And at the end of the day, it's not a product you're ever going to sell. So that's where having someone to look at it from a design point of view, and as a project, how much is it going to cost, how much is it going to weigh, what size sheets are they going to be,
The investment in time as well, because you can invest an immense amount of time. All this could have been cut, etched, layered up. Yeah, great. But there's an immense number of people that want to play these games that don't want to get that level.
Yeah.
And I look looked at what Graham was looking for, and I went, you know what? Put the design head on completely, and then said, this is where we're going to go with it. I mean, it is as silly as 6 degrees. Number of our buildings, like the wonky old West buildings that we do, all rely on just a little tilt of a wall, and a little tilt of that, with the engineering holding the panels together, and it creates an insane aesthetic. And the whole idea was the game was a little town or whatever, the old medieval overhung buildings. Once you get into all the overhangs and structures, it gets massive build times and complicated layers. And as Steve was saying, you have to look at it. Are people going to be investing the time to build it?
And
so
the cost of buying it.
And then the cost to them enjoying a game that distance away, rather than the basic house that you can get takes 15 minutes to build. Less than that in truth, but 15 minutes. Way. And then the idea is that we thought, well, if to gain character, we've actually taken some of our standard design principles out of it. Like the chimney does not get glued into the roof at a specific point. People can put it where they want. The same with the stairs. They can be any way round. There's no specific... It adds that personalisation with a fantasy game from small, simple building, stage one. And then you can then build on the dormers. There's no lugs for those. Where do you want to put them? All these bits and pieces have gone into it. And and then you've got all the layering of the extra, like there's a blacksmiths. And then the towers.
And the buttressing at the base of the tower,
There's the bakery shop in that one there. So you can add these at different points.
And not when you build it to start with. So you could buy one, buy another one, buy some bits. The idea is that your town can grow. You don't have to commit to the big buy.
And it's not fake to say it, to be honest. I mean, I do all the graphics, all the design work. So what happens is that if, for instance, we decided to do not a pink version but a blue version, that could be in production the day after with instructions with the relevant colour on it. It's in our power and our control, and the copyright is purely mine and Steve's to play with, so that, it's one of those things where Graham came in and it was like, he was a bit dazed. It was like...
I teased him because he said, do you think Gerry will have something to show off at Salute? And I said, yeah, you should have a couple of buildings to show you.
And in fact, you've set up a small board instead,
That's a new concept as well in a train board, in that's a modular set of panels that can be printed in a variety of different ways, interlocked in, so you no longer need to have that regimented square board. You can have one that is disjointed, so you have to S-shape your way to your argument, and
then bouncing around. This is the sort of prototypes for another range, which is probably more imminent than that one. It's a sort of shattered European city that could be quite a few places. These all interlock, so you can build your table up using them. There's different heights. Reach round there, different heights. So the idea is...
There's Steve's perspective working on one project with somebody else and everything else. This is my project going on with other things. There's so many different things happening. And there's other stuff like the blocks of fats over there, which is another thing that we're working through and there's... Well, Steve forgets what's in the database at the back because we never get to it. So it's one of those things that...
What's new, and then you try and filter out the things that you haven't done anything with yet, with the stuff that we have played with, but we've kind of parked it because we want to bounce it around between us, which happens a lot. We do something and we really like it, but we don't know where it fits in. How does it fit in? What are we going to do with it? Does it need more, or does it need different? And that sometimes we like to leave that, let that sit for a few months.
Well, on that note, obviously, for years you've been knocking out really good value kits in just the bare MDF and HDF and the like. With going into the printed Does that mean you're going to stop doing just the plain kits, or are you going to run them side by side?
No, so much so. Let me show you. This is a concept that Steve didn't know about until this morning, which is just a bit of fun. So you've got your Baywatch beach hut. Yeah. That will be laser cut NDF, because that goes with our modern, the shopping range and the city block, all those sorts of bits and pieces. It's just a bit more fun, you imagine that in the 1920s, saving lives.
So I think that's why we've taken so long to come round to doing this, because this is everything else will 100% be relevant, supported. It's a different product for a different place, and it'll be done in the design style's the same, so you will be able to mix them, but then you can, it's up to you which option you go with. It's not like
will physically feel as if it can go with this.
Well, it's been fantastic seeing what you're working on. This I've been blown away by. But it's nice to hear that the core range is going to sort of remain there as well, because I've had a lot of fun over the past couple of weeks building up some World War II stuff for our little Saint Nazaire board back home, and just the speed at which the kits can be put together and then painted up is just fantastic.
That's where both Steve and I take an immense amount of care and time designing it, cutting it, test building it. There's 3 test builds, in-house build at Sarissa, they do another build, there's instruction builds. The process is really pushed so that you can do a massive ship of the line, of which some guy went, I need to buy another one because it was so much fun building the first one. It's that kind of thing, we take an immense amount of care, and that's where the final bits sometimes come, where Steve will be on the phone, especially for the larger production runs, going, can we just nip a millimetre off because we can kill a sheet? Is that crazy that we just make a little jig and it means that we can turn a component, cut a sheet out, and we get it at the price breaks that you guys go, I'm loving this. It goes together and it just does me and my hobby.
It's fantastic stuff. It's what we all love to hear. If you've not checked out Sarissa before, how? But you can check out sarissaprecision.co.uk these days, or .com now. They both go there. And obviously March Attack, the YouTube channel for the painting guides on the MDF is great as well.
Sarissa Precision's on YouTube. Okay. I'm on Facebook because I'm an old fart. There's lots of bits and pieces on there. There's some quirky stuff and bits and pieces that are outside the ballpark. It's things like painted miniatures and stuff. It's like Herman's War there. There's a little World War II ruined building there. The 2 figures are both Herman. They both want to go home.
Well, there you have it. Right, folks, we're going to push on and see what else there is to see here at Salutes. We'll be back soon.